All right, guys. Jeremy Knopf here with another episode of the Public Relations Declassified live stream. And today we are going to talk about essentially a reputation management issue that has come about in the last, I would say probably 30 days or so. And that is how to handle the latest Google reviews extortion scheme and protect your online reputation. Now, basically what this is scammers will bomb your Google business profile with fake negative reviews. And then some period after that, could be a few days, could be a week, could be a little bit more, they will then email you offering to remove them for a fee. Now, the shitty thing here is you cannot remove them, right? Because Google is a third-party platform. You don't have control to go in there and delete reviews. So it kind of puts you into a bad spot. This is something similar to what we see with Facebook for the business pages, where people will come on and they'll post their promotional bullshit as a review, and there's nothing you can do to get those removed, right? Same kind of situation here, but what they're doing is they're blasting your Google business profile with a slew of negative reviews and then using that to extort you to pay them money in order to get them removed. Now, what is the impact here? Well, there's a few different things that play out as a result of this. One is if your business starts to get a bunch of negative reviews, that impacts the search results for your Google business profile in organic search. But more importantly than that is that it creates a poor impression. And that applies to clients, that applies to potential partners. And when I say partners, I don't necessarily mean somebody that has an ownership interest in your business. I mean somebody that you're collaborating with in some way. And it also plays a big role with the media. So think about it like this. If you come out here and you or your publicist pitches you as a source for a particular story, and a journalist goes and looks up your company online and they find a whole bunch of negative reviews and you've got a poor rating, that's going to make them question whether or not you're legitimate, whether or not you're the type of person that they should be citing in an article or in a TV segment. So this has a huge impact. And if you've got a bunch of these negative reviews, especially if it moves your overall rating in a significant way, like if you only have a few reviews, it doesn't take very many to drop that 5-star rating down to a 4 or a 3 or worse. So it can definitely block some great opportunities for you. And it can also hurt your revenue in a really big way. So we want to avoid that at all costs. Now, unfortunately, with this new scam, you cannot entirely avoid it, right? There is always the possibility that this can happen, right? We've talked about how you cannot remove them. And historically speaking, Google has not been very helpful in getting bullshit reviews removed anyway. What's different now is that the scale and the attention have both changed. A lot of people are talking about this. In fact, Barry Schwartz, editor of Search Engine Roundtable, actually published an article about this. I'll have Chrissy drop a link to that in the group here in a little bit. But essentially, he wrote an article about this for Search Engine Roundtable. And then he also wrote another one for Search Engine Land. Chrissy, I don't have the Search Engine Land article in our notes here for this morning, but if you could dig that up, I believe that was published on the 11th under Barry's column there as well. But basically, attention has been brought to this. As a whole, the SEO community knows about it. On the broader scale, many in the business community in general are starting to learn about this. So because of all that extra attention, it has caused Google to take action. So we're going to talk about some of the things here as far as what you can specifically do about this. The one thing I do want to point out is under no circumstances should you ever pay these scumbags. All right. If you pay them, then first of all, you're out that money and there's no guarantee that they're going to actually remove those reviews. But then the bigger problem is, let's say they do review them and now they know that you're willing to pay. If they come back and post reviews again, they know you're going to pay again, right? So you're going to be out this money. whatever amount it happens to be, you're going to be out this time and you're still going to be sitting there with that reputational damage. So the first thing that I would do in a situation like this, and this is exactly how we advise our clients to handle, situations like this, is reply to each and every one of these reviews and state that this is not a legitimate review. This is not somebody we've worked with. This is an extortion scheme. And then within that reply, because you have the ability, although you cannot delete reviews from your Google profile, you can reply to them. So reply to it with this information. I would include a link to either Search Engine Roundtable or Search Engine Land where they're talking about this situation. And then I would also include screenshots of these emails, right? Because they're going to reach out to you with an email offering to delete these reviews for a fee. So if somebody goes, they look at your profile and they see a bunch of negative reviews, that's going to create a negative impression at first. But in many cases, people will then go and see what those negative reviews actually say. And if they see a bunch of randos, like you've got some great client reviews, they're talking about how awesome you are, they're talking about the value that you bring, the attention to detail that you have, all of this kind of stuff, and then they see some negative reviews that don't really say much, or they're written in a way that make it clear that they didn't actually work with you. They don't really have any insight as to your process or anything like that. But if it's that on top of you've now replied to it, and here's third-party sources saying that this type of activity is happening, and there's screenshots of emails that you've received that clearly demonstrate that this is extortion, then that can help you get around the negative impact of it. It's not going to completely eliminate it, but for the people who are a little bit more diligent, they're not the knee-jerk type of people who just instantly see something and make a decision based on that split-second impression, then you're going to be in a much stronger place. The other thing is Google has recently launched an entire process for resolving this. And I do want to give you guys a quick, I'm going to pull something up for you real quick here before we jump into that process. But if you're not familiar with the Google review, or I'm sorry, the Google business profile, this is what happens when somebody searches your company name, or if you happen to come up under like organic keywords for something that you do. What you see here is I did a search for my company. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Yeah, that didn't really help, did it? All right, let's see. We'll go back that way. All right. So basically, this is the listing here. It's right down here underneath the map. So that's my Google listing. So if you search your company name, you'll find the same type of thing here. And then if you click on that, then you can go and look at the reviews, and it will show whatever your rating is. You can see here we've got like 50 something reviews, 5-star rating, all that good stuff. So they're going to see those stars right up in the beginning. So what we want to do is if that happens, we want to now go through, and we've already went ahead and replied to all of them. Now we want to go through Google's official process. Now I'm going to pull up a page here where Google outlines what this situation is first. So this is Google's page, and I'll have Chrissy drop this one into the chat for you guys as well. But basically, this is Google's page about this particular extortion scam. You guys can check this out, get more detail on it. And even Google clearly says, do not engage with them, do not pay them. It will further encourage this type of malicious behavior, and I agree with that. They tell you exactly what they want you to do, and they also emphasize the importance of coming in here and doing it as quickly as possible. My take is you do it immediately. As soon as this shit pops up, you need to go and take action. So just kind of gives you some additional information here as you scroll through here. And then I'm going to pull up another one. So this is the actual form that you will fill out. And Chrissy will drop that into the chat as well. And this is going to collect all of the information that Google is going to need. So your name, your email address, all your contact information, relationship to the business. So is this your business? Are you an agency, PR firm, SEO firm, something like that? Whatever that is. I don't know why I'm a Maps user. I don't work directly with the business. As a Maps user, you would not have information to support that it is extortion anyway. So that's seems kind of silly, but apply whatever's the applicable category here. Business name, business address, and all of this needs to match whatever's on your Google business profile. There is a section on your profile ID, and they do give you this little link here where it tells you exactly how to get that. The URL for the Maps link as well is necessary. And then it's going to give you a date range. They say 1-star and 2-star reviews specifically here. I predict that what's going to happen is the scammers are going to stop doing 1 and 2-star and start doing 3-star eventually, once Google gets good at kind of rooting this shit out quickly. And then they're going to ask you what contact methods the people reached out to you and whatever contact info you have for the person who is extorting you. And then you're going to have the ability to upload evidence. So this would be screenshots. This would be if you have audio files of voice messages or a video file from a Zoom call or anything like that. Whatever you've got, you want to upload that here so that Google has the evidence. Now, I do want to touch on something that I think is important here, because I know that a lot of people may be tempted to try to use this to get rid of any other negative reviews as well. Do not do that. If you do that, that's going to cause problems. That could make Google less likely to remove the illegitimate ones if they find out that you're also using this process to try to remove legitimate negative reviews. So stick to the intended purpose for this particular process that Google has created for us, but absolutely use this, use it fast, use it aggressively, and take action as quickly as you can, because otherwise this shit will build up. It's going to have, the longer it's out there, the more impact it will have on your online reputation. So we want to be as aggressive as possible. Now, that being said, going forward from this day on, we all want to make sure that we are being more proactive in general as it relates to our Google business profile. Now, I'll take that a step further and say this applies to anywhere that you are giving people the ability to post reviews on a third-party site. So your Google business profile, of course, but also could be your Facebook business page. It could be a Yelp listing, anything like that. So you want to make sure that your profiles are all up to date. So that's something you probably want to check on, once a month or so, maybe a little bit more frequently. That's something that you probably shouldn't do yourself. You should probably just have a VA or your assistant or whatever, keeping an eye on that, right? That's not something that requires a high level kind of strategic picture. It's just you're going and making sure that everything there is still up to date. There's no new reviews that you haven't responded to. You also want to make sure that your email notifications are going to the right place. So you want to make sure that as soon as a review comes in, you get that notification. So make sure that the email address that is set up to manage that particular listing, that's an address that you check regularly, or that anything from there gets forwarded to your main address, right? So this way, when a review comes in, it will automatically notify you. Now, I've talked before about these review platforms and the importance of responding to reviews as soon as possible. And this includes positive reviews. If somebody comes in and they say something great about the work that you've done for them, respond to that. Be grateful. Thank them for the experience. Thank them for, trusting you and your business to serve them, right? Show engagement. Show that you give a shit, but also respond to the negative ones, and especially if it's this extortion thing. I have talked before about how to respond to negative ones when they are legitimate. That's not a topic we're going to dig into today here, but definitely use the structure that I outlined a little while ago as far as responding to the extortion specific reviews. And then if you do come to a case where you find this happening, take immediate and aggressive action as soon as you encounter this scam. And that leads us into Jeremy's PR PSA today. And that is, your online reputation and the threats against it are constantly evolving, and you need to protect it on all fronts at all times. So this newest Google reviews extortion scam is just another iteration of things that happen online that we have to adapt to, that we have to evolve, that we have to find new ways to address, right? And that's not going to change. We're going to see more of this. We're going to see more ways to get out in front of people. And then we're also going to see, as a result of that, more ways that we have to proactively defend our brand, defend our reputation. So we want to be proactive. We want to look at what's going on. We want to anticipate what's going to change. And we want to stay ahead of the curve at all times to protect that brand, to protect that reputation. Because in today's world, where it's noisier than ever, there's so much clutter to cut through. People want a brand that they know, like, and trust to work with. And if you're not protecting your brand, you're going to be at a significant disadvantage to everybody else who is. So this is an absolute top priority thing at all times. And I encourage you guys to stay on top of it, protect your reputation, protect your brand, and it's going to just do amazing things for your business. It's going to help you stand out. It's going to help you convert prospects into clients more quickly. It's going to help you attract opportunities. So that's a wrap for today, guys. I hope you found a ton of value in that. If there's somebody you know who could benefit from this information, I would love if you'd share it with them. And if you're not already in our Facebook group, go ahead and check out Public Relations Declassified. That's our free Facebook group. And if you hit that little QR code up here, I never can remember which way to point. If you hit that QR code, that will take you straight into our free Facebook group, Public Relations Declassified, where not only do we stream these live streams, but also share additional information, ask or answer questions that you guys have, and share cool resources and other information. So that being said, that's a wrap for today, guys. Thanks for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode.